Counterpunch promo live in 3, 2, 1.
Once upon a time, they awoke to the concerted effort underway to dummy them down, to the forces working at every turn to water down human wherewithal. They stood, they rallied, they drew their line in the sand, vowing once and for all to scale their spines and mortal up. That was the day the tables turned, and the universe itself sat up and took notice.
Live from the Counterpunch Studios in Columbus, Ohio, you're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy on IPMNation.com. If you're not going to mortal up, why not just stay in bed?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2, 1.
This is not a drill.
All Natural Being. Warning, All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy is designed to shake your sense of self to the core.
It's full contact psychology with an empowering twist, a philosophical loofah for your soul.
For those of you not ready or comfortable releasing your inner superhuman, listener discretion is advised.
Here's your host,
Brian Brawdy.
You know, it's wild. I almost said good evening there. I've been doing this for so long at nighttime. I almost said good evening, but the right word is good morning. Welcome, and thank you for stopping by the 427th episode of the number one rated show here on IPMNation.com. You're in to All Natural Being, and the gong heard round the world, as you just saw, happens live. Your snooze alarm's sworn enemy. And bonus, a great way to jumpstart your day while you're at it. Broadcast as it happens, thanks to our friends at Telestream's Wirecast, live from the Counterpunch Media Studios. We're pretty fired up about that. And multicast live on mortalup.com and over at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, with a very special shout out to the two companies that are making our little AM soiree possible this week. Of course, Lee Rowley's Copy Branding and the Blender Buffer. And we'll get to a little bit of that happen a little bit later. We'll get to some of that. If you're heading for the shower, which a lot of people are doing this time of day, or you're out the door soon, this is the radio that sparks your smart, that crushes your can't, and primes your mind for the day ahead. Now, if you're already out and about, I'm fired up to be your virtual hitchhiker. And I fit, as I say every morning, right in the cup holder. And I love, leftover from law enforcement, I love riding shotgun. Now, if we've missed you this morning, we have on-demand rebroadcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Overcast, Shoutcast, Castbox, just to drop a few names. Greetings, wherever you are here in the Garden of the Mortals, the labyrinth, of life itself. You know it is the ups and downs, the lefts, the rights, the pivots, the swerves, the flukes, the whims, the sheer havoc, the rock and roll havoc of the synchronicity and serendipity of it all. Blind alleys and cul-de-sacs, sure, but never a dead end unless you and I decide to tap out. But until then, let's commit to always put our heart's highest priority top of the list and to out-brutal the brutal that is the cut and shuffle that fate can deal you on a daily basis and to bring your own bold once and for all. And before we hit it this morning, a quick hello to my friends and those joining us from all over the globe. It's great to have you with us. And I'm really fired up about the gong heard round the world, that's back in the mornings as well. So what do you say? Here's our opportunity to mortal up, to crush your cant and your critics. And I'm simply suggesting that you demand that your mind's eye and your true potential live wide open. I think it's time for that. So what do you say? Let's go kick in some doors. And this morning, we're going to be trying out some new things. And I apologize if you're listening this week because you're like, wow, that's pretty gutsy, trying everything on the fly. But what we're going to do is figure out what's the best thing that we can do. How can we make it work to such a degree that it's like, oh, no, this is fantastic. This is the way the show should be. So we're doing a little bit, just a lot of different things. But this morning, we're getting to lowlifes making headlines, the 60-second stoic, crimes of mind, and the early morning meme. So I'm excited to get your feedback on how you think all of this is going to go. So let's do this. The first thing I wanted to do this morning is our lowlifes making headlines. And then let's do this real quick. And then I want to get your input on how we can move this forward. It's one of my favorite of all time segments. Hot heads wrapped in thin skin, covering brittle brains atop balsa wood spines. It's time for lowlifes making headlines. All right, I can't even say it without I'm supposed to pull this down because I'm sure the people at Patagonia are like, yeah, we don't endorse anything he's doing. So in any event, forget that you see the Patagonia logo on my vest. I should have some duct tape, I think, somewhere. Maybe that's what I should be doing. In any event, lowlifes making headlines. I thought we could do this quickly this morning, and then we'll hop into what we want to talk about today. But, I said yesterday that, that a couple of our videos were pulled down on one of the channels that we broadcast live to, because we happened to mention someone's name. That's all we did, is a name in a joke. That's it. And they pulled the videos down. So what I thought to do this morning is we could kick around a couple different things. One, could we nominate here in the thread who we want, right? We can kick around who we want for today's lowlife making headlines. And that would be a cool way. Or you can send me a tweet or a text or direct message me, however all that works. But what I thought today is we do a very general one. And what we're talking about is that, that one over there with the picture of the little bird, the little blue bird, so that, everything's got to be a code name now, because even if you mention their name, they can pull the video down. So I thought the one with the little bird, we'll just call that one Bird Scat. So between us, if we say, hey, this is going to go, here's something we're talking about. Well, Bird Scat pulled down a couple videos. That's all right. That's how to get around artificial intelligence. And because if we mention their name, they go, oh, well, we're with the artificial intelligence. The computers are coded to pick up our name. So from now on, that little one will be Bird Scat. And of course, right here, if you're watching, you probably know already that my code name, right? Like a call sign or whatever, if you're a fighter pilot, my code name for where we are now is Mug Pamphlet. It'll sink in. Just wait for it. But Mug Pamphlet will be, so if we want to do something about lowlifes making headlines and we want to have any kind of legs at all, then what we'll just do is say Bird Scat or Mug Pamphlet. Now, I haven't come up with one yet for YouTube. If you've got one, that would be great. We can kick that around and go from there. All right, stand by. We will be right back.
You're listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy, because it's never too late to take your life back.
All right, never too late to take your life back, and you can start this morning, if you like, by giving us a call, 833-646-3877 or 833-MIND-UPS, just like push-ups or sit-ups or pull-ups. Give us a holler. Let us know what you're thinking. You could also nominate someone for lowlife making headlines in there as well. 833-646-3877. Don't forget, you can text us. Let me go ahead and fire up our text application as well. You can text us at that number, although I'm supposed to remind you that, some kind of fees or something could apply if you're using text messages and the like. But send us a text and we'll go ahead and get that. Okay, that's fired up now. So we'll get that into the show as well. All right, so 833-646-3877, 833-MIND-UPS. We said we would do that. Now, let's do this morning the 60-second stoic. See if I pulled this off right. And then we'll get to the thread, we'll get to the phone lines, we'll get to all that. All right, here we go. Time for your 60-second stoic. It's simple, really. Embrace the suck or be buried alive. All right, I got to tell you, I'm kind of digging this because usually there's so many buttons, there's so many things to hit and do and all the rest of this. And Wayne said to me yesterday, he goes, why don't you just automate some of this stuff, right? You're always slamming artificial intelligence, but maybe you could use it a little bit and automate what's going on. So I'm like, okay, great. That's what we'll do this morning. So for the 60-second Stoic, we're quoting this morning Seneca. He says, we are often more frightened than we are hurt. We suffer more from imagination than reality. Have you ever been subject to that? Right? Where you're worried, you anticipate, right? And we talk about your mind's eye and what happens when it turns against you. When your mind's eye, as he says, you suffer from imagination more than reality. And do you have an example? Is there something that you remember where you go, yeah, I thought the worst. I really didn't think this was going to go all that well. And then, ta-da, went a lot better than you first thought it would. So that's something to kick around too today as we move forward, is that what are those things that we do that our mind's eye isn't always our best friend, that we can anticipate something that's going to be a lot worse than it really is. Now, maybe sometimes we anticipate stuff, right? Fight or flight, all that, and it is as bad as we think that it's going to be. But 9 times out of 10, isn't it at all possible that what happens is that our imagination convinces us it's going to be a lot worse than it is? All right, let's go ahead and jump over into the thread. Let me say good morning to Heather. Heather, nice to see you. Brother Wallman, Brother Rowley, nice to see you as well. Good morning. Thank you so very much for joining us. The morning version, we're into it. I think it's cold even in Florida. Oh, you know what? I saw your picture, your new Facebook picture. Mr. Wellman, and I thought it looked absolutely fantastic. So good news shot. Lee says, happy thump day. Thump your critics. Thump your self-doubt. Thump British guys in gas masks. I don't know, Lee. Them's fighting words. If Fallout Bob gets on, you could be in big trouble with that, I'm telling you. Amy, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Henry, good morning. Thank you for joining us, brother, at All Natural Being, the morning version. And, we're trying to work out some things. They're trying to work out the different segments, trying to work out some of the things that we'll be doing throughout the show here, because ultimately, good morning, everyone. Henry says, if you're on radio and you can't see the Facebook thread, here's something else that I wanted to make mention. I was talking to Matt Connerton yesterday from IPM Nation. And there's a chat room, an IPM Nation chat room. So pretty soon we're going to be monitoring that chat room as well, which if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter or here on Facebook, you'll be able to chat in the chat room so that we can get those people included in the live feed as well. So that's another thing that we're working on. Oh, and I also wanted to mention this. Let me do this, and then let me do this. So here's what's going on now. The QR codes that you see up on the screen, or you will see here shortly, the QR codes are designed so if you're listening to the show, if you're watching the show and you think, oh, Bri, it's great, but I got to get out the door, I got to get the kids to school, I got to get over to the gym, I got to get over here, I got to get over there, do this or that. Now up on the screen, you'll see there's a QR code. So if you have an app on your phone, which is a QR reader, and you can get them anywhere, they're all kinds and they're free, you can get them anywhere. Here's what you do. If you scan this QR code, this little white squiggly thing down in the left-hand corner of the logo, if you just put your phone right up to that and the QR code reads it, what'll happen is that it will take you directly to the radio page at Counterpunch Media. So it will take you directly to your ability to not miss a single bit of the show. You just come over, you hit that QR code, and then what will happen is it pulls up the radio show, and you can literally go from your computer, hit that code, walk right out the door, and get busy in your day. Good morning to Sarah. Sarah, thank you. Oh, and Ian, nice to see you from across the pond. Nice to see you, brother. Jennifer is also here. Jennifer, thank you so very much for getting up and joining us. And Jennifer, congratulations. I've seen your pictures. I saw something the other day where it said you had, by Piers, had nominated you, not Piers Morgan, the CNN guy, former CNN guy, but your peers in the photographic industry have nominated you and have voted on your pictures and everything else. Very, very creative. So if you haven't had a chance to see Jennifer's work, hey, Jennifer, if you can, when you get over into the feed on Mug Pamphlet, Can you throw up a link so that everyone is there like a standard link or just your Facebook page link so that people can see some of the work that you're doing? Again, good morning though to Sarah and to Ian and to Jennifer, to Henry, to Amy. Thanks everyone for joining us here at All Natural Being. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're trying something a little different this morning as well. So if you would stick with me through this and tell me what you think. All right. So, when we talked yesterday about doing commercials, we talked yesterday about doing some things for people that are helping us within the show. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe it's just better to go ahead and tell you what I think about it. We'll get them done real quick, 60 seconds, we're out the door. Lee Rowley, Copy Branding. And I went ahead and throw up his QR code as well. Lee Rowley is just a brilliant guy, a smart guy when it comes to writing copy, when it comes to copy branding, a term, believe it or not, that even he came up with. So even when it comes to branding his own self, he went ahead and came up with copy branding. You'll want to check him out, LeeRowley.com, or just hit the QR code here in the feed, and that will help you, that'll help you catch up to it as well. Everything that he's just a wizard when it comes to writing. You probably know him or may know him from Copy That Speaks on Thursday nights, but you definitely want to go ahead and check him out. And especially if you're thinking, I should launch a business, I should launch a company, I should do this or that. Lee Rowley is definitely the guy you want to talk to. All right, let's jump in now. We have another segment that I wanted to. Ever wonder if you're your own worst enemy? Waving the white flag of surrender whenever confronted by the binge thinking ricocheting around your own brain? Well, we call that the crimes of mind. Crimes of mind. Here's the scoop, and we're going to borrow from Shakespeare this morning, and I know you're going to say, wow, really, Brian? It's not unlike Seneca's quote. A little bit. They kind of dovetail some, but Shakespeare says, our doubts are our traitors. Our doubts are our traitors. And you've heard me say before that doubts are corrosive, that doubts, in addition to being self-defeating, they can be contagious. They can even, they become addictive, right? Because you're like, hey, there's some kind of passion going on with there. So Shakespeare says our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we would oft retain, except for fearing to attempt. So think about that. Crimes of mind. These are the things, as I said in the open, these are the things that we do to ourselves. This is the binge thinking that beats up on us, right? Like a speed bag. No. Now, another crime of mind, and let me make sure, I'll keep it right there. Another crime of mind is we can buy into chatterdom, outside opinion, right? We can start normalizing in our minds the crowd vote, the thumbs up, the thumbs down, right? We go through our day based on everyone else's opinion. That's a crime of mind. But in terms of what Shakespeare's saying is that there's an internal crime of mind as well, and that's our traitors, or that's our thoughts that are traitors. So is there at all a chance that you're your own worst enemy when it comes to something particular? Jennifer, you are more than welcome. Lee, you are more than welcome as well. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us in the mornings. And you should also know that Lee is the official sponsor, the official time sponsor. Lee Rowley's Copy Branding is the official time sponsor of 81 to Win, which we've got coming up a little later this spring, in the beginning of summer, I suspect. But 81 to Win, where we'll be successfully retaining the world's record for the longest call-in radio talk show, obviously 81 hours, thus the 81 to Win. All right, so in wrapping up Crimes of Mind, don't forget, or ask yourself maybe throughout the day, am I being my own biggest fan? Am I being avidly me? Am I being my own best friend? Or am I letting the binge thinking from the backwaters of my brain run the risk of taking over my mind, and as Shakespeare said, becoming our traitors? So that's what I'd like us to be able to think about today, is that maybe, yes, there's all kinds of stuff coming from the outside, but maybe, just maybe, we're working at, you know what? We're betting against ourselves when there's really no need to, other than the fact that we've normalized that habit, other than the fact that we're accustomed to betting against ourselves. maybe that's something that we may want to consider. All right, don't forget, if you want to reach out, send us a text. You give us a call if you'd like to. 833-646-3877. It's toll free, so there's not that excuse. And also, if you're heading out the door, if you want to hit the QR code, I'll just go ahead and throw that up now here as well. Another way to get in touch with us on the QR code, you can post right in the thread. Don't forget, just hold your phone right up to that, and that will take you right to the audio player as it pops up on your phone. It'll take you right to the player. You don't even have to worry about that. All right, so we're going to go ahead, and here's another thing. And again, thanks so much for being the focus group and the like as to how we're going to do this. So another one of our sponsors is Blender Buffer, and I'm excited because I say shh happens, and I'll show you here quickly why it was such a big deal for me. A Blender Buffer is this soundproofing that goes right over top of the blender. So when I get up at sometimes 4:30, sometimes 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, oh, I'd really like a cup of coffee, right? And I mix in some butter and some octane oil. I just throw in all kinds of stuff. So it's really not. It's coffee flavored gazpacho by the time I'm done with it. Brother Wallman may be able to comment on that. It's really gazpacho that's flavored like coffee. But when you hit the blender, it wakes up everybody in the house. And you're sitting there, trying to grab your peace of mind. You're having a little bit of coffee. Kelly sent me a really nice mug that says, "Trust the process, the universe knows." So you're sitting there and you're enjoying your cup of coffee and getting ready to jumpstart your day. And then here comes little ones or your wife or your husband, significant, whatever it is, coming down the stairs, rubbing their eyes, going, "Oh, the blender woke me up. The blender woke me up." And then you're like, well, so much for that peace of mind I was shooting for. So check out Blender Buffer. I'll go ahead, throw the logo up, and then also, let me see, I'll go right over here. Throw up the QR code for Blender Buffer. So if you want to see everything about that cool product, here's a chance, hit it up on your phone. And then I'm thinking what we're going to do also is a little bit later, we'll be posting those in the feed itself. So if after the show you go, oh man, what was that thing that Brian was talking about? Then we'll have it, we'll throw it right up there so that you can see that. And then, instead of like having a pen and a piece of paper, or for the people listening, well, I wanted to make certain that when you go, oh man, I got to write that down. Where's something to write down? Now, just right within the feed, you can come over to Facebook.com, or you can even come over. To, now that I think about it, you can come over to BrianBrody.com or MortalUp.com, and we'll post them there as well. Good morning to Kathy. Kathy, thank you for making the jump. Thank you for coming back and hanging out with us here at All Natural Being in the mornings. We super appreciate it. It's been a little bit of a transition, but I got to tell you, as I said to Sue the other day, as I've said to Henry in the past, and I've said to Wayne, and most certainly Lee, that, I started in mornings. So, and today is a big day, speaking about starting in mornings. Today is a big day in that a couple different things going down in my life. Big day, I go back to the good folks at the Columbus Cranium Shack for hopefully my final follow-up post, my fourth brain surgery. I'm like a few hours away from having this whole thing behind me, and I cannot wait. So we're going to go. Hopefully the doctor has something, has good news and says, oh, wow, you're healing, you're swelling, you're this or that. That's all good. So I'm excited about doing that today. And then also this evening I'm guesting, or I'll be calling in. I'm a phone-in guest on Rob and Slim on IPMNation.com. Jenny, good morning. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Jenny, maybe you could post, I don't even know what time I'm on, so let's not do that. But I'll be on Rob and Slim this evening and be celebrating, hopefully, the good news, whatever the doctors have to say, the good news about all that. So it's kind of a big deal in my house today, because I'll learn if moving the mornings and then, allegedly getting more sleep is a benefit to recovering from like 4 brain surgeries in 2.5 years. I'm sick of dealing with it, I got to tell you. Right? But at least today I'll get some kind of heads up or a vote from the doctors, and if they say I'm playing nice or it's working or it's not working. All right, so here's something else I wanted to do. And again, please accept my apologies in advance, but also my thanks for hanging with this while I figure this out. But we want to do the early morning meme. And we want the early morning meme to be situated in such a way that maybe you can share it around. You can do this and that. So let's do this, and then I'll give you a little bit of my mentality behind it and see if you think it's something we should keep. Want the perfect way to jumpstart your brain, to prime your mind, to hone your heart and your head? Here's today's early morning meme. So today's early morning meme, and here's what I thought we could do, right? Because Lee has been a huge help in terms of saying, oh, well, are you doing anything over on Instagram? And I'm really not, or I haven't been for the longest time. Are you doing anything with blog posts? Wayne's like, oh, well, we set up a blog. You should be doing a blog post, drawing people over to mortalup.com and the like. So what I thought we would do is we'll post the early morning meme right here in the show. If you're watching on any of the platforms, if you're watching on, if you're over on mortalup.com and you're taking the show on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, you're watching it, then you'll see it. But if not, if you're listening on the radio, I'll go ahead and tell you what the meme is for today. And then in addition to telling you what the meme is, I'll go ahead and post it up so that you go, oh yeah, I got to head over to mortalup.com and see what that's all about. So the early morning meme moving forward today will be included, will be the actual blog. A little more commentary around it than that, but it will be the blog over at mortalup.com, a.k.a. you may know it as brianbrawdy.com. If you're ever wondering about spelling the last name, you can just go to mortalup.com. It'll take you right there. And the early morning meme will be included in the blog for the people listening on the radio side. So I'd love to get your opinion. All right, let's get to it. This morning's early morning meme. If you don't play with fire, how can you hope to amount to anything? And I think what I did over... And again, please comment here if you think that's a good idea, bad idea, not in any event, up bright and early and on the blog. So what I said over on Instagram is, look, here's a toast to you for today. Here's to hoping you're running with sharp scissors, you're playing in busy streets, and you're heading right into the water after you eat a big meal, right? Because what I realized is that if you don't play with fire, right, if you don't get to the point, then... Or maybe this is a better way to put it. If you look around, right, you look around at some of the biggest badasses, I guess is the only way you could put it, they're covered in burns. Who was it that says that, if you look at someone really talented or really successful, they're covered in scars. So if you and I decide not to play with fire, how can we really hope? And that kind of ties in everything that we were talking about, our doubts or traitors, as Shakespeare said, or we're often frightened more than we are hurt, as Seneca said. What if? But we're scared. Oh, we can't do that. We can't go against the static quo. We can't rock the boat. We can't draw outside of the lines. We can't, interestingly enough, I sat in on a meeting the other day where an art teacher said, for one of my children, said, we dig the coloring books and this and that, but could we make a suggestion? I go, look, you're the Picasso here. You tell me what to do. And they're like, oh, well, if you get a blank piece of paper and give them some black magic markers, well, have them draw their own version of a coloring book. And I thought, that's brilliant, because you and I, maybe we spend a good bit of time worrying about chatterdom, worrying about the static quo, and we're busy connecting the dots. We're busy coloring between someone else's lines. Or the alternative is you and I can decide to play with fire. We can decide to be one of those badasses that are covered in burns. We can decide to run with scissors and play in the street and then eat a big lunch and dive right back into the pool again. So for today's early morning meme, if you don't play with fire, how can you hope to amount to anything? All right, so I would love your opinions here in the feed. If you think, oh, that's a great idea over on the radio side, don't forget you can text me, 833-646-3877. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about the way that we're working to produce the show. so that each and every morning, whether no one's anticipating everyone's going to sit around and watch a computer, but right, you can hit it on your phone and take us. We fit right in the cup holder. We fit in those little armbands. So if you're on a treadmill at the gym, you could be listening in. But the sole goal of the show is to make sure that we prime your mind, that we hone your heart and your head for the day ahead. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much. We'll be back tomorrow morning. And until that time, get out there, bring your own bold, and mortal up.
You've been listening to All Natural Being with Brian Brawdy.
Join us live every Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m. Eastern.
Also, check us out around the clock at allnaturalbeing.com.
Until then, always remember to bring your own bold.